Paul and Rick Santorum have collectively raised tens of millions of dollars already in the 2012 presidential campaign, and the race is only now beginning to heat up. So where does this money come from? Candidates like to brag about all their small donors pitching in their crumpled up 20s, but the big money people are really the forces to be reckoned with. 8 run, Barack Obama raised about $750 million. Only 1/4 of that came from people who gave less than $200. About half came from people who gave $1,000 or more. Still, there are limits on how much you can give to a candidate. $2,500 in the primary, the same for the general election. So the question remains, where does the rest come from? And that's where the math gets murky. For starters, there's no limit on how much you can give yourself. So wealthy candidates, and let's face it, a lot of them are pretty well off, can pour cash into their campaigns. The political parties can also flex their financial muscle on behalf of their choices. That's one reason presidents speak at those $1,000 a plate dinners to help the parties, because they know that money is ultimately coming back to their own plate. And that's just the tip of the cashberg. Next comes a bewildering array of other entities that can help a campaign. PACs, super PACs, 527s, 501c4s, joint fundraising committees, you name it. They all have slightly different rules governing how much they can take and whether they must disclose their donors. Labor unions and corporations like Microsoft and Goldman Sachs work through such organizations. Most of this money does not go directly to the campaign, but rather to shadow campaigns, funding ads and flyers and robocalls that build up the candidate or tear down his opponents. Legally, such efforts cannot even be coordinated with the official campaign, but it's widely believed political operatives have found ways to get around such rules. There is a way of getting public financing, tax money, to run for the White House. To do that, a candidate basically pledges to raise only a limited amount, which the government will then match. But the price of winning the presidency is now so high, many political analysts think that practice is history. And by the time the 2012 race is done, it could make history by breaking the fundraising record set by the candidates in the last presidential dash for cash.